welcome to episode 345 of the All You Can Hear podcast. And I am Wenzel, one of your banana co-hosts. And joining me today is my other co-host.
No!
That
Colt.
picked up.
Caesar Colt.
Caesar
Proximus Colt.
Colt Caesar.
Fuck,
How
no,
about
that's next episode. Shut up.
God, that's not secret information. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. All right. So if you couldn't tell from the title, we watched the 2001 remake directed by Tim Burton starring Mark Wahlberg, Michael Clark Duncan, Chris Christopherson, and Paul Giamatti, Planet of the Apes.
Also known as the worst one. I haven't seen it, but I know people say it is the worst. Okay.
I was hoping I'd catch you off guard by that. I shit you not, I completely forgot about this film until this morning. I completely forgot about its existence. The only reason
Lord of the Rings was good.
Okay, so whatever I was looking up for reviews for Kingdom, someone jokingly brought up in one of their reviews about how the remakes will never come close. They were joking about never come close to ever trumping the most amazing scene in cinematic history of the horror on Mark Wahlberg's face of seeing the Lincoln Memorial, but with an ape Lincoln sitting in the chair.
I kind of want to see it just for that scene.
And the thing is whenever I saw that, I remembered it because I guess in my mind, it was like a suppressed memory. So like when I saw the Letterboxd like cover image, it sparked neurons in my brain that have not been activated since that era. And the reason, like I said, I vaguely remember is because I think my dad showed me both. He showed me this one, 2001 one, and then he showed me the original so that I could compare them. And it was just like, yeah, the 2001 sucks. The original is much better. And I agree because I don't remember the 2001 at all. I remember the original more. And even then, it's been so long. God, it's so crazy. It's like, it's from that weird era of the 2000s, like you said, like where Lord of the Rings was, so big. But it's like the armor and aesthetic of that film is very specific and tied to that of like 2000s new metal. I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's like
the fuck?
It's so weird. It's like if the Chronicle of Riddick impregnated the Planet of the Apes with its parasitic eggs that got irradiated and mutated by Linkin Park and Korn. That was something I've been thinking about.
Oh, why they look so ugly?
Like that was something I've been thinking about. I'm like, it's so weird. Like I don't. Like,
wait, they didn't use any CG. They used practical makeup on these people.
I think so.
I'm looking at someone dressed as an orangutan. Is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. They look like the little fairies from that one fucking Muppet creator guy.
Dark Crystal?
Yes, they look like the little Dark Crystal fairy creatures. Oh, these are ugly.
Yeah. It's very it's so weird. And I haven't looked for it, but I think we have the VHS of it, and it comes in this kind of like glowy holographic sleeve. Okay,
that's pretty badass though.
I'll have to look for it. I don't know if my dad like stored it away or if he sold it or something, but
burned it.
I remember very vividly of that sitting on our shelf, and we had so many VHS sleeves or DVD sleeves that have like from that 2000s era of like having like dark background, but kind of like a glowing mono bluish hue or maybe a gold hue to the images or to the word, the text or whatever. It's very, if people know what I'm talking about, you probably do. The only other thing I can think of is like there was I think the Star Wars films were the prequels and the originals were re-released in like a VHS like collection, like a black but like gold glowing sleeve. I don't know if anybody has those or remembers that, but that's kind of where I'm getting that from. But yeah, no, seriously though, in succession we watched all three of the Planet of the Apes remake / prequel films from the 2010s. This is to prepare us for Kingdom, which at the time of us recording this, May 12th, we just watched Kingdom yesterday on the 11th. We actually won't be talking about that on this episode, as Colt kind of spoiled for you guys. We'll actually be talking about it on next week's episode 346. So please be patient for that. We'll have a whole episode dedicated to the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
And, I love monkeys.
Absolutely. Now Colt you haven't seen the original Planet of the Apes, is that correct?
Yeah, I haven't seen any other Planet of the Apes other than these.
Yeah. So Planet of the Apes is a film from 1968 starring the very famous Charlton Heston. And like I said, I saw it back whenever my dad showed it to me. I think I was like 6 or 7. And then I actually watched it a second time when I was 9. Me and like a bunch of friends had this huge like sleepover, and everyone was like, let's watch Planet of the Apes. And so that's what we watched. I don't know why that was the choice, but everybody wanted to watch it, and we all had a good time.
10-year-olds love monkeys.
Yeah, dude, like I said, like, I think everybody was kind of like, oh, the costumes look kind of dumb or whatever, but for the most part, it was just a fun time. So it's been almost over a decade since I've last seen it, so I think it's due for a rewatch. I don't know when we're gonna rewatch it, or I assume we're probably gonna watch it together. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I gotta see those monkeys.
But yeah,
and their ugly ass fucking makeup.
Yeah. So, but again, we will only be talking about Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and War of the Planet of the Apes. That's all we're going to be talking about this episode, and there's going to be spoilers for all of them. So if you haven't seen them, here is a safe spoiler for you. I suggest you go watch them.
Yes, you really should. These are 100% worth the watch. Like, holy fuck, these are bangers all around.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're doing a whole episode. We would, if there was something that was bad, we would still probably do an episode about it, but a fun bad. But this is good. But before we get right into the films, I would like to give some fun facts for everybody. Some fun scientific facts.
No, this better not be Scientology.
All right, moving on. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, 2011. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I thought you were being real.
No. So something that I was curious about, and I talked to Colt about this, was how many species of apes are actually in this film, because there's just so many apes that look so different from each other. And I was like, okay, because I never really thought about like, how many actual different species there are, because we just kind of generalize and think like, okay, there's chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans, and monkeys, and so on and so forth. And also should mention too, we know these guys aren't monkeys. It's just kind of become the meme of the time. So, when we say monkey, we're not like, it's not because we don't know. We know they're apes.
I just refer to every single creature that looks like a monkey.
You say that, but the monkeys look like apes.
Yeah, I know, but they're monkey.
Well, actually, that's stupid of me. Why'd I say that? Tails probably came before. Never mind. Anyway, that doesn't matter. And everything that looks like a dog, we call a dog.
Yes, that is true. Like zebras.
Zebras are dogs. Horses are dogs.
Deer.
Bears are dogs. Yeah. So there you go.
Sometimes cheetahs.
Yeah. So cheetahs are cats. Cats are cats. Come on.
Cats are sometimes dogs.
Sometimes.
My cat's a dog.
Your cat's a piece of shit. Okay, anyway. So for those who don't know, hominids are a group of extinct and existing family what is known as great apes. Currently there are 14 species of great apes, but I will say I might be wrong about that, because a lot of different sources say there's only 8. Some of them say there's 14, because some of the species they consider as subspecies and not species. I'm not going to go into the whole debate of subspecies and species, because when I was looking into that, it was so confusing. So yeah, have fun with that. And humans are considered also a grade 8, or not considered. Humans are a grade 8, so technically 15.
I didn't evolve from no damn monkey.
Okay.
I'm made in God's image, a monkey.
Wouldn't that? Oh my God! Can you imagine they get to heaven and they see that who's the one sitting in the throne of heaven? A goddamn, it's Caesar.
Fuck, dude, I would be praying to Caesar every night.
Dude, if there was an ape, like if that's what like an ape just is God, I'd be like, okay, I believe it. Like I would believe that.
Caesar's the realest monkey you will ever see in anything. He's one of the realest characters, period. He is Jesus Christ, but monkey.
I love him. But no, in the films, we only see 4 general types: gorilla, orangutan, bonobo, and chimpanzee. Now, if we're going off the 14 species of great apes, gorillas have 4. There's 5 different orangutans. There's 4 different chimpanzees, but there's only one bonobo, and they can only found in one place, and that is the Congo, south of the river. And what's interesting too is there was only actually one bonobo. Don't want to spoil Kingdom, but there's only one bonobo named in the films, and he's actually one of the main characters. That's Koba. He's the only bonobo.
He's a fucking crazy bitch.
Yeah. And another fun fact that people might not know is that chimpanzees, and I hope I'm saying this right, capuchin monkeys.
Capsaicin?
Capuchin monkeys and long-tailed macaques. When I was looking up how
macaque.
I looked up pronunciation, and there was 2 different ones. There was macaques and then there was macaques. But under the macaques one, so many comments and so many variations of the jokes of get off my macaque, or you can suck my macaque.
Or you could just say you can suck macaque.
Yeah,
no,
sorry.
You don't need the my. Okay?
Okay, well, I'm dyslexic, so you can fuck off.
You can suck macaque.
Okay. But currently those 3 simians, they are currently in their Stone Age right now. Yeah.
In real life?
In real life, yes.
Okay.
What other life?
In the movie.
We don't see capuchin monkeys in the movie.
They could be.
Okay. Anyway,
they could be evolved further than Caesar's clan. You don't know.
Anyway, in real life, they're in their Stone Age. Nothing super advanced like you might think. They're in the early Stone Age, very, very early, but they are using tools. And but something that I also did not know when I was looking stuff up was chimpanzees. A certain group of chimpanzees in West Africa have been observed using sticks like spears to stab bush babies in their homes.
Well,
and if nobody knows, bush babies are a very small primate. They're very cute, and that's pretty brutal.
All right, everybody that's listening, let's Google bush babies together. Bush babies. I know what they are. I'm just doing it for the. Oh my God, why would they do that?
It was insane. The woman was just like she was like so like casual about it. She's like, we actually have observed chimpanzees using spears to stab bush babies. And it was just like, what the? How can you drop that info on us? And to be fair, she does say that like out of these 4 general groups of great apes, chimpanzees are the most aggressive. I watched a whole video that was connected to the franchise to kind of like educate and talk about apes. She was one of the people who they consulted to. She actually worked with Andy Serkis. I should have probably had her name ready to say who it was. Give me a second. I can edit this.
Yeah, she was needed for Andy Serkis because if he didn't have a handler, he would rip someone's face off.
Well, fun fact, Andy Serkis, she actually worked with Andy Serkis for his I didn't realize he portrayed King Kong in Peter Jackson's King Kong.
What the fuck? Is he like a typecast for monkey?
I was like, I didn't realize he did mocap for King Kong too. That's
he was
crazy.
Gollum.
He was Gollum, and Gollum is a monkey.
Yeah, he's monkey-like. I guess he is.
I guess he is. He does a good job.
Yes, he does a great job.
To be fair, like I said, he works like, okay, the woman in this video, it was a video for Wired. Dr. Tara Stowinski, president and CEO and chief scientific officer for the Diane Fossey Gorilla Fund. Yeah, she got to work with Andy Serkis on his work for King Kong and for these films. But yeah, she talks about how the chimpanzees are the most aggressive, and gorillas. I mean, she does mean to state that these are still wild animals, and you should treat them obviously with respect. And but she talks about how the bonobos are out of these group besides the orangutans and the gorillas, because bonobos were also nicknamed pygmy chimpanzees. They're not chimpanzees; they're their own species completely. But they're actually considered the most chill and docile, and they actually are very playful, and their playfulness goes with them from childhood into adulthood, and they're very friendly to humans. And they actually don't really fight with each other. They settle fights with sex.
Okay, I don't want to get in a fight with one.
That's not okay. Now, what was also interesting too, also kind of insane, was she mentioned how 2 years ago, I think, they for the first time they captured recorded footage of chimpanzees killing a gorilla.
That is, yeah, I imagine a group. Yeah, can't do much with that,
right? And never have they ever seen that or had gotten evidence of that. But when they got it, it was just like, oh shit, like this shit's crazy. And then a fun fact about gorillas too: gorillas are so sweet. I love gorillas, and they're scary still, but I didn't know that gorillas, what they do is, if a baby gorilla loses its mother, the dominant silverback male, they'll take them in. They'll take them under their wing and care for them.
That's nice.
Yeah, they care for orphans. I think Pat told us that, or maybe somebody else told us about how gorillas are known for caring for orphan gorillas. Like it's so sweet.
Yeah, like Wenzel said, I would never interact with one of these animals because I'm too scared of being ripped to shreds. But I just love them so much.
I love them, and that's what makes these films so important. But enough of the fun facts. We can get into the movies. So thank you for bearing with me. Let's get right into it. So we're gonna give you a summary. Just talk about, what happens in the film. We'll discuss things that we, our impressions and things we like, and just the usual. But here we go. So again, Rise of the Planet of the Apes is the first film. It's in 2011. It's directed by Rupert Wyatt, which is interesting because he hasn't really directed anything else besides this, and this is probably this is his only film that's actually like very well received.
Yeah, looking at his filmography, it's lackluster. This is like the only recognizable movie I see here.
Yeah, I did see The Gambler with Mark Wahlberg. It's not good. Other than that, everything else I know is just pretty low. But yeah, so this film had a budget of $93 million, and it came back from the box office with $481.8 million. That's insane.
Yeah, go ahead and say you're going to see a pattern through this. These movies do great.
Yeah, and the thing
I don't understand. It's not that I don't understand why. I just don't understand why I didn't hear people talking about this movie or any of the other movies until now for Kingdom. Nobody fucking talked about these movies when they were coming out in my feeds or in my area. I just don't remember people talking about it. I remember I went and saw Rise in theaters, but I didn't see any of the others until this past year and this year.
Yeah, so I'm with you on this, Colt. Like, for the longest time, maybe it's just our area or something. Maybe people aren't interested in apes, seeing apes be among humans or something. Maybe they might even be offended.
Yeah, we are in Alabama, so maybe they think I didn't evolve from no ape.
They might think it's blasphemous or something. I don't know. But when I'm looking at the article, the Wikipedia article, I mean, it got nominations, awards. It was recognized by critics and audiences. Audiences too, because it grossed so much money. And not only that, like, its visual effects are were lauded. I didn't realize that the visual effects were done by I think it's Weta, WETA Digital. They're based in New Zealand. I believe they did the okay. Well, maybe they didn't. I thought they might have done. I thought they might have helped with Blomkamp. Oh, yes, they did. Okay, they did do District 9. I thought so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did all of the Lord of the Rings. They did 2005's King Kong. They did a bunch of movies. Avatar, 2009's Avatar.
Okay, yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize how many movies they did. Oh my god. Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking through. I didn't realize. I don't think I ever noticed how many movies they're a part of in terms of visual effects. That makes sense. I mean, they do great work, so of course they would have a lot of fucking films. I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah. So, give you a brief cast list and characters we're working with here. Caesar's played by Andy Serkis. Maurice played by Karen Konoval. Rocket played by Terry Notary. Should mention these three guys right here. There are these three actors. They do they do play these apes in the next two films. Koba in this one is played by Christopher Gordon, but that's not who does the mocap for him in the later two films. Buck, a gorilla, played by Richard Ridings. James Franco plays Will Rodman. Frida Pinto plays Caroline Arana. I think that's her name, which is just Dr. Rodman's girlfriend, but she's not really that important. Charles Rodman, played by John Lithgow, which is James Franco's character's father. Brian Cox plays John Landon. Tom Felton, Malfoy from Harry Potter, plays Dodge Landon, a piece of shit. And then David Oyelowo plays Stephen Jacobs, the CEO, the corrupt CEO, or whatever. So let's get into some plot. In San Francisco, Dr. Will Rodman wants to test this drug, the ALZ 112, which is to help cure Alzheimer's. And they do that by testing it on chimpanzees. And one of the chimpanzees they get is a chimpanzee named Bright Eyes. And Bright Eyes, they try to get her for a presentation, but they can't get her out. They actually try to trick her with soda.
Which, to be fair tactic. It depends on what the soda was. If it was like something like a root beer, I'm not big on root beer. I'm not a root beer fan. I would not take it. But if it was like Dr. Pepper or like a Fanta of any kind, or like a special Mountain Dew flavor that I haven't tried yet, yeah, I'm taking it.
It was so funny because at first, whenever we're watching this, Colt was like, I wouldn't fall for that. And then Colt later says, like, well, if they had Dr. Pepper, maybe. I was like, I would fall for it. Like, if they had my favorite soda and they're trying to tempt me, yeah, I'd fall for that, buddy. Yeah. So it doesn't work though. She goes crazy. One of the security guards has to shoot her. It gets their project shut down. They end up putting down all the apes that are under their care. And it's revealed that the reason why Bright Eyes was going crazy was because she was trying to protect her son. And it's an infant chimpanzee. James Franco can't bring himself to euthanize him, so he takes him home to his Alzheimer-ridden father. And his father starts to bond with Caesar and names him Caesar after, obviously, Julius Caesar, but more so from the Shakespeare play, should mention, because he starts quoting him.
Yeah, little do we know, who would have guessed? Caesar rips his father to shreds. Yeah, it turns out bringing an ape into your Alzheimer dad's house is not a great idea.
That does not happen. Basically, John Lithgow's character becomes Caesar's grandpa. It's very sweet.
Yes.
Yeah. So 5 years pass. Caesar is becoming an adult. And not only that, too, James Franco's character gives his father the drug because he just doesn't want to give up on it. He doesn't want to give up on his dad. But his dad ends up, after this 5 years, starts regressing because the virus is being fought off by his immune system. And because of this, he ends up getting into this pilot's car. It's a Mustang. Who this guy? He's James Franco's neighbor in this movie. He's just been an asshole the whole movie, and he starts.
Didn't necessarily say he's an asshole. It's just that a chimpanzee was charging after his kids, and he didn't know the intent.
No, I know that. No, okay, true, but I guess I'm more so thinking about how whenever there's a man who's clearly old, clearly has some issues, the first thing he does is starts like yelling and screaming at this man, like verbally abusing him. Like, I don't think that's what you should do. And of course, Caesar, seeing this, gets really mad because he assumes that this man is trying to hurt his grandfather, basically. So he attacks this man, beats the shit out of him, bites off his finger, and of course, the cops come. Court orders. He has to be put into a ape shelter. It's really sad.
It's ape prison. It's just a sad place.
It's really sad. This is where Malfoy comes in, where he's just an abusive handler. He
loves tasing monkeys, just the typical.
And he loves bringing girls to this place and have them watch him tase the monkeys too. Like,
I know we'll get the ladies going. Watch this shit. I'm gonna tase this orangutan.
Can you imagine too? The women are just like, they're just like, they look down and they're just dripping wet.
Oh, please, fuck. Tase that chimpanzee, please. I love the way they shriek in terror and pain.
She's like, sorry. Jesus Christ.
I think that happens in Harry Potter too. I haven't seen it. But...
I think it does. I don't know. I'm just thinking like, man, these people suck. Okay. Anyway, so Caesar is in this place. Caesar's wearing clothes, by the way. He wears like a sweater and jeans. I love his fit. But he gets bullied and picked on by the alpha chimpanzee in this area, Rocket, who is, like I mentioned before, a main character. So yeah,
he's a little dickhead at start.
At the start, he's a little dickhead, but he easily becomes one of my favorites.
Yes, yeah,
absolutely. Caesar befriends Maurice, who is a circus orangutan who knows sign language. Caesar also knows sign language as well. I didn't mention that. After a certain time, Caesar learns to unlock his cage, get out of his area and stuff, and he actually ends up befriending the gorilla that's there, Buck, who is isolated from the rest of the apes. He's kind of in his own cage, and the way he befriends him is that he unlocks his cage and he lets Buck run around and basically just play. It's very fun.
It's a very cute scene, like showing that, like, even though Buck's a scary, massive gorilla, he just wanted to come out and play. He even did his little spin and just ran around the courtyard. I love that scene so much.
I love it so much because he just starts rolling around, and that's all he wanted. He just wanted, that freedom, and it's very sweet. And this is also too, this just shows you how freaking smart Caesar is. That's what I love about these movies, is that even though, obviously, like, Caesar is like, okay, yes, we understand he's smart. He's not like us, and it's not meant to be demeaning, but like, it's just like seeing another being that isn't human like grow and learn and adapt. It's just so fascinating because we don't really see that kind of stuff, even if it's fictional. It's just so cool. But anyway, this is also too getting Buck on his side. He's able to ambush Rocket, and he knocks him. It's more brutal rewatching it, where he knocks Rocket out with a freaking metal gas can.
It's pretty funny though. I do enjoy hearing that bonk noise.
It knocks him out, and that's how he gets him to his side. But after that, Rocket becomes one of the best characters, and then
only after getting the special juice.
That is true. Well, in a cookie.
And a cookie, yes.
there is a bit where Caesar is wanting to get all the apes on his side, so he gives a cookie to Rocket, and then he makes Rocket give cookies to the rest of the apes. And it's so funny because Maurice is like, "Why cookie Rocket?" And it's just like, I don't know, it's just a funny sentence. And then this is also too where Caesar is talking to Maurice, and he's like, look, apes alone weak, but apes together strong. Obviously that we get that. And but then Maurice is like, apes together, or apes are stupid. And that's where Caesar is like, okay, I need to get them the same thing that gave me my intelligence. And what I should mention before we get into that, though, James Franco's character is, while he's trying to get back Caesar, he's also having to his whole thing is like he wants to try to bribe Brian Cox's character to get him out, and to do that he's going to have to try to convince Jacobs to give him funding so he can use that money to pretty much get his job and use that to get Caesar out. So he tells Jacobs about what he did, and the virus that he did give his father, and one that Caesar has also too, should mention, the virus was actually made his dad smarter. So Jacobs is like, okay, well, let's try this again, but this time with the ALZ 113. And so they get a bunch of new apes, and they make a bunch of new drugs. And one of the apes that they get is Koba. And Koba is pretty gnarly. They mention that he's been in labs, he's been tested on before, he has lots of scars, so he knows kind of the procedure. He's already kind of intelligent, and doing this, whenever they try to give him the 113, one of the doctors gets exposed to the virus, airborne, by the way. It's through a gas, and he becomes sick. And then after that, it's this whole thing where James Franco is like, I just can't do this anymore. So he stops it because he leaves. His dad ends up dying. And he just doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. But the doctor is infected with the 113. He becomes sick, and eventually we do find him later. He's dead in his house. But also too, before that, he ends up sneezing on the neighbor, the asshole neighbor, sneezes blood on him. And that neighbor is a pilot for airplanes, for air travel.
So man, maybe that's a great way to spread a virus.
Yeah. So that happens. Like I said, Caesar breaks back into his old home, and he knows James Franco's character has the 113 canisters in the refrigerator. He takes those, and then he uses those to spread the gas around the shelter and give it to all of the apes. So now all of the apes' eyes change to the color green. They're all have the same intelligence as Caesar now. And it's pretty, there's a really good scene too, where, like, if you were, I guess, a normal person in this situation, you would know something was wrong, because all the apes make no sounds, and they're all standing around Caesar just looking at him. And it's so creepy, but it's like something's different.
And then you see the fucking dickhead looking at them as they're having their meeting. He does a double take. He's like, what the fuck? And they're just staring at him.
It's pretty cool. And then later they all have to go, it's curfew or whatever, so they all have to go back to their cages, but Caesar doesn't. And so Malfoy fights Caesar, and Caesar grabs his arm, and Malfoy's like, get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape. And we get one of the coldest, most memorable line deliveries of this film franchise, but also in cinema, of Caesar speaking for the first time, screaming no. It is so good. It still gives me chills.
Yeah, I remember when I went and saw this in theaters back in 2011. The theater actually went crazy. Like, there were people going, what the fuck?
No, dude, I was looking up reviews, and that was something that I wish I would got to experience. The people who talked about how mostly through the film, everybody was kind of just like, like kind of relaxing with this or whatever. And whenever Malfoy says the iconic line that's from the original movie, everybody was laughing. But then as soon as Caesar says no, this theater goes fucking silent. And that happened, like, that was a pretty much shared experience across all people who saw this movie in theaters. Like, everybody goes silent. It's like Caesar has something to say and you will listen. It's so cool. Andy Serkis does a great job.
I just don't understand that how they get him to fit in the monkey suit every single time. He's not a short man.
Well, that's because Andy Serkis has a special power. If you don't know, Andy Serkis is actually what's known as a were chimpanzee, where he can turn to chimpanzees into a chimpanzee at will. But the only thing is, it can only be done on a full moon night.
Oh, okay, all right. I wish I had that power. I want to climb stuff.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Sometimes if you go out to LA where Serkis lives on a full moon night, you can see him running around.
Damn. Does he look just like Caesar? Of course, it's him. Yes.
Yeah, it's him. Yeah, of course. He looks just like Caesar. Yeah, no, I don't know where Serkis lives. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. He's British as fuck, I think.
I think he's British. Hold on. I have a thing right here for him. Let me see.
I mean, he was in Harry Potter, so I'm assuming that.
Yeah, no.
He was in Harry Potter, wasn't he? Or am I making that up? I know he was in Lord of the Rings as Gollum. I feel like he was a teacher, but I could just be misremembering.
I want to say he was in Harry Potter as well. I don't know, actually. I'm looking. I don't see anything. You might be thinking of somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to see where he lives. Will that have that on here?
Yeah. Can you show me his address, Google?
Nah, it doesn't. It doesn't really say. He is from Middlesex, though.
Oh, girl. Yeah.
That's in London, you fucking pervert. I don't know. Is that how you say it? If anybody wants to correct me, Middlesex. I don't know.
No, it's Middle
Essex. Middlesex.
Middlesex.
I don't know. British are weird. I don't.
Yeah, they're scary.
But yeah. So that happens. So Caesar is gets all the apes out. Malfoy hates that, so he's gonna try to stun baton Caesar again, but Caesar uses the hose to spray him. When he turns it on, the stun baton, so it ends up electrocuting him. First human that Caesar kills. Caesar, like, I love too how the in Caesar's face, even though Caesar was angry and knows the abuse that he's faced, he looked so guilty. He did not want to do that. It was very sad, but like also just good acting. So after that, the apes do basically a coordinated like strike where they split up. They go one group. It looks like one group goes somewhere else, but another group goes to the Genesis lab, which is the lab that James Franco works at. I didn't say that, but I think they all go to the same place. I'm not sure. Or no, sorry. One group goes to the lab, and then the other group goes to the San Francisco Zoo. That's what happens. Never mind. So they free the apes at Genesis, where Koba's at. So they're free. They've been exposed to 113 as well. Also, too, not only from the guy getting infected from 113. Whenever freaking Caesar opens the canisters, technically 113 is in the air, kind of. I know that's not really how that works, but anyway.
The scene where he was freeing everyone was fucking awesome. Just especially the scene where they're on the rooftop and they all appear with the makeshift spears as they try to impale an ambulance.
Whenever they get the spears from the zoo, that was so brutal. And then whenever Caesar, Buck, Maurice, and Rocket are on top of the trolley going up the hill, squad. Perfect squad right there.
Yeah. Caesar. I'm always Caesar.
I would who would I be?
Maurice.
Okay, I'll take that. I love Maurice. Okay. I could honestly be anybody. I would love just to be anybody, honestly. But yeah, so they want to get to the Golden Gate Bridge because they want to go to the Redwoods, the Mirror Forest, the Mirror Woods, or whatever. They want to get there, but of course, there's cops and stuff on the bridge, so they want to try to kill them. And the CEO of the company or whatever, Jacobs, he's in a helicopter and he's like, "We got to get there. You got to gun them down.
Kill these monkeys. Get your M60 up. Blow these monkeys' heads off."
It's pretty crazy. But no, we get the bridge scene is like everybody, I mean, everybody can agree that's like the best scene because it's like it's just so fascinating. Like they're so freaking smart. Freaking Caesar tells Koba and his chimpanzees, tells them to go up top. Then he tells Maurice to take the orangutans down below, and then he tells the gorillas to push forward, overturning a bus to use it as a shield so that they can ambush the fucking cops. Koba comes down from above, Maurice comes from below, and then the gorillas and the other chimpanzees in the middle overwhelm them down the middle. It's so good. It's so freaking cool. I love it. And then of course though, whenever they also too, there's a really cool scene where Buck fights a cop who's on a horse and he's about to kill him, but Caesar yells no to show that Caesar very much does not want to kill people. Very merciful. And yeah, so they after taking down the cops at the end of the bridge, the guys in the helicopters, they're trying to kill Caesar. So Buck decides to sacrifice himself and fucking jumps onto the helicopter, killing basically everybody on board, crashing it. And Buck dies because he gets shot many times, especially in the chest. And it's really sad. Rest in peace, Buck. Love you.
He was a real one.
And Jacobs is in the helicopter begging Caesar to save him, please. And Caesar does his iconic standing over the edge, looks, and then turns away, walks away. It's like he's not going to kill you, but he's not going to save you.
Yeah, he didn't put you in that situation, bud.
Exactly. But who's the one that you can say technically kills Jacobs? It's Koba. Because Koba, whenever he first encounters Jacob, Koba does not like Jacobs. He even writes his name on a fucking board. So Koba smiles and pushes the helicopter off the side of the bridge. It's so cool.
Yeah, and Koba has, I would say, the biggest understandable reason for him to hate humans so much with all the experiments and whatnot.
Oh yeah, and we'll talk about that in the next film, because that right there sets up for what happens in Dawn.
Yes, very good setup too.
Very good. But yeah, and then so they make it to the woods, and James Franco follows him there, and he tries to warn Caesar, tell them like, hey, you know, they're gonna come after you. Just come home, I can protect you, which is literally impossible now because Caesar has finally found his own people. And how is James Franco, one person, gonna fucking protect Caesar, who now at this point isn't really in he isn't a regular animal anymore. He's not human, but he's not ape. He's a completely new being. They all are. So
also, the government would just break in your house and shoot you and the monkey.
They really would. Like, they would just send in some kind of like wet works or black ops or something, come in, shoot the monkey, be gone. Like, that's what they do. Or they would set some kind of trap or something.
Blow up your house. One of those things.
One of those things. Like, that's just how they are. So Caesar hugs him and tells him that he is home. First time James Franco hears Caesar talk. Really, really sweet. And then yeah, they climb up the trees and it shows Caesar, the start of Caesar's kingdom, if you want to say like that, but a whole new world, pretty much. And I didn't realize that there is a post-credit scene where the guy who gets infected, not the one who dies, but it gets infected from the doctor that dies. He actually, since I mentioned he's a pilot, there's a scene where it shows him going to go arrive at the airport for a flight. Like, or sorry, maybe not maybe I'm misremembering. It's just he appears at a flight, and that's how he spreads the virus.
Yeah.
I think a pilot gets infected, or you know, he's on the plane, so he carries it. But anyway, yeah, and that's how the movie ends, leading into Dawn, where we'll get into that.
Yeah, Rise. As many people have said when talking about this movie, it is a starting point. It's just a way to get to the real meat of Planet of the Apes.
Yep.
And it was done very well. Fucking, why can't I remember his name? What the fuck? James Franco. He was an okay character. I just found myself like every time the human stuff was happening, I was just waiting for the monkeys because the monkey scenes were just that fucking awesome.
Fair enough. I do agree. The human scenes. I mean, James Franco's character, you know, he was definitely, he was very sweet. He was more understanding, I would say. So he was more tolerable, because once we get into the later films, every time there's like human shit, it's just, I feel resentment. And I mean, that's kind of done on purpose. I think that's something that the films do well. I think that's something that's done on purpose. But yeah.
Oh yeah, the one warning: if you start watching these movies, you will grow to hate humans, and you want the monkey uprising to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, it's their world; they can have it. Just leave me alone. Like, I won't do anything to you. Don't do anything to me. We'll be fine.
Yeah, just let me play PlayStation. We're cool.
I was thinking about that too. If something like this did happen, and you know, I survived or whatever, it's like, well, what would you do with all that time? I knew immediately what I'd do with that time. I would go to Barnes and Noble, get all of the books. I would go to the library, make my own home in the library, and I would just read. I would just read forever. That's what I'd read, every book. And then not only that, I would if there was any electricity, I would get every movie. I'd watch every movie.
I'm probably goon until I died.
Sorry. Yeah, that's way more badass. Sorry.
I know.
That's what I would do personally. And when I thought about that, I got a little happy, and then I got kind of sad, because that's
never gonna happen. You'll never be alone. That sounds like a threat.
I don't. Yeah. What do you? Fuck you. No, like Colt said, and like everybody's gonna say, this movie is just a starting point. It's only an hour and like 45 minutes. It's the shortest of all the films, and it's done that on purpose. And I do think though, like it's a lot of like setting up, but at the same time, you really want to get to the ape stuff, and that doesn't really happen till the latter half of the film. That's where a lot of the meat is at, and I, as much as that hurts it's necessary, I think. But yeah, I give it 4 stars, by the way.
I went 4 stars too. When I first watched it, I would say 3.5, 2011. And then when I rewatched it like 2 years ago, 3.5 as well. But on this third watch, something clicked. I said, "This is peak Monkey." It's not peak Monkey, but it's really good.
It's really good. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I do love to, like, we do say how it feels underrated, but because of Kingdom, there's so much of a resurgence. And not only that, too, I did see where somebody was talking about how, like, the films are underrated, yes, but at the same time, it's like this person was like, why is nobody really talking about the first one? Like, the first one is just as good. And then somebody replying to them saying, like, you know, like, okay, when the film first came out, it was never really lauded for being bad. It was considered great, and it's still, even by now, great and or good. And I think it's still solid. Nothing's changed. Even by standards now. I mean, the CG is still very well done. So yeah. Are we ready for Dawn?
Let's get to the Dawn.
All right. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes came out in 2014, directed by the very famous Matt Reeves. You might know him from The Batman.
The Batman!
Actually, there was another movie he did. I'm trying to think. Cloverfield. He did Cloverfield.
Yeah. The original Cloverfield?
Yeah, the first one.
Oh. He's a good director. He really is.
Great. And it's so cool, too, because the stuff that we see in Dawn and War, because he directed both, it's like, it's a part of his style. Like, because you see that shit in the Batman as well. Specifically the nighttime scene that happens there's a very dark scene in War that is also in Batman, where Batman is fighting in a very dark scene. But I'll talk about that later. But anyway, Dawn had a budget of $170 to $235 million with a box office of $710.6 million. It made so much freaking money.
Yeah, that's a huge return. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and a huge budget from the last film too. And it makes sense. I mean, everything everything looks good, and with how big this movie is, yeah. But to give you a quick cast list here again, we have Caesar Maurice Rocket, played by the same people from the first film. Koba this time is played by Toby Kebbell, who Toby Kebbell also plays him again in War. That's not a really spoiler. I'll mention why whenever we get to War. Hold on, let me look up Toby Kebbell.
He was in that one episode of Black Mirror. The entire history of you.
The entire history of you, but he was also, if anybody needs any other, he was in Kong Skull Island. He was in 2015's Fantastic Four, apparently.
Ooh. Oh shit! He was Doctor Doom.
He was Doctor Doom. God, did not know that. He was in a Monster Calls. He was in War Horse, Prince of Persia, Wrath of the Titans.
He was in Bloodshot.
Yeah, he was in Bloodshot too. I remember him.
Fuck.
Yeah, he was in a lot of 5-star films.
I mean, he's been in some good stuff, but he's also been in a lot of bad.
I don't say that because, like, saying like he's a bad actor or anything. Like, no, he's very good. It's just some of these films he's been in just suck.
God, he was in Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Fuck, I forgot that was a movie with Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal playing. I forgot about that too.
And it's a fucking Disney movie. That's disgusting.
Dude, that's disgusting. Oh, okay. Cornelia, which is Caesar's wife, played by Judy Greer. I didn't know that was Judy Greer. Blue Eyes, played by Nick Thurston. Judy Greer does play Cornelia in the next film, by the way. Then with human characters, we got nobody fucking cares. Malcolm, played by Jason Clarke. Dreyfus, played by Gary Oldman. Ellie, played by Kerry Russell, and Alexander, played by Cody Smith McPhee. Alexander is the son of Malcolm. I can't remember his name for the
yeah.
Whenever I was like, who the fuck is Alexander? But they call him Alex, so I don't know why it says that. But yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. This is Dawn. So this is 10 years after what becomes known as the simian flu pandemic. The human population has been reduced to about 1 in 500. So that's 0.20% who are genetically immune. Basically, human civilization has been destroyed. There's been suicidal collapse, but the apes are thriving. They're still in the Muir Woods. They have kind of they have no knowledge of what's going on in the outside world with the humans and stuff. It's been, yes, it's been 10 years since the first movie, but it's also been 10 years since they last saw a human, which is interesting. They have their own clan led by Caesar. His lieutenants are Maurice, Rocket, Luca, which is a gorilla, and Koba. And let me see. There's something else I was going to say, but I don't have
I'm looking at the writers for this movie, Rick Hoffa and Amanda Silver. They've got a great filmography under their hands. Holy shit. They got all the Planet of the Apes movies, the new ones. Avatar, Way of Water, and Avatar 3 through 5. We're going to be in good hands in the Avatar universe.
Wow, really? They did Avatar? Yeah. That's good. That's good writing credits, especially for this, with how good this film is. Okay. Sorry. Hold on. I talk so much doing the summary for Rise. I need a drink of something.
But on the downside, they did write for 2015's Jurassic World.
Ooh. I mean, you can have hit or misses.
Yeah.
Jurassic World, I would say, is not the worst out of...
And Mulan.
You know, it's how I go quiet there.
To be fair, on both of those movies, they were just like co-writers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, yeah, they might have helped write that, but that's not the same writing that was for this film, honestly.
No, that's hog shit.
Not only that, too, if you were to go by which of the Jurassic World films are better, I would say the first one. But that's only by like the smallest margin fucking possible. I mean, you're talking about like maybe 3 stars, maybe, and then the rest, anything below that, like it's just not good. So it doesn't. That's funny. Okay. Anyway, so yeah. Want to talk about God, this film. Okay, so I'm trying to do the summary, but at the same time, there's so many scenes I love in here. Okay, so the beginning scene where we have Caesar leading all the apes on a hunt is so sick. Like it starts off with on Caesar's eyes, and we get this just gorgeous like CG just shot of redwoods of them like having developed it kind of look like spikes on the trees, like I guess to help them with climbing and stuff, but like it's so brutal. And we get this cool like under like forest floor shot of them climbing through. um we get to see them work together with Koba, like they have face paint on. It's so cool. And then there's this really cool scene where uh so Caesar's son Blue Eyes, they're trying to get one of the deer because they're hunting, but a bear attacks them. And Caesar is there with Blue Eyes, and he's trying to protect his son, but at the same time he can't take on this bear. So immediately he starts screaming for Koba, and Koba, without missing a fucking beat, runs so fast and comes up and stabs this fucking bear in the back with his spear. It's so sick.
Yeah, it goes hard as shit.
And this is where this is so, oh my god, because this film goes so much into it. Like I wish we could see more into it, but you kind of I think it goes enough into Koba and Caesar's relationship, and it's so sad because we get this buildup of Koba showing that he loves Caesar, and he even says that he will do anything for him. Like they're friends with their kids. Like I mean, he's like he talks to Blue Eyes, and he's like, "Don't worry, scars make you stronger." Because Blue Eyes has this really cool bear scar on his chest now, and Koba has like a scar over his eye. He's blind in one eye, and he's a scar above his lip, and he has scars all over his body too. But kind of I guess making light of the situation of like, hey, scars make you stronger, and yeah, he's just like super sweet, and but then for I'm trying to think what else happens. Oh, there's a really funny scene too where Maurice is teaching all of the little chimpanzees. Of course, Maurice is the teacher. I love the idea that the orangutans are teachers because they're so freaking smart normally in the real world. And Maurice is telling one of the kids to pay attention. Like, damn, even in the ape world, they having to deal with these kids, man. But oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Okay, then yeah. And they talk about how they haven't seen humans in so long. And of course, we immediately get their first contact with humans. Worst possible person, a guy named Carver. We don't give a shit about him. But what does he do? He immediately shoots one of them. They don't even do anything. He shoots Ash, Rocket's son, and Blue Eyes is like scared. They're out in the woods by themselves. So it's just Ash and Blue Eyes. And Carver is screaming like, help, help, I need help. I just shot one of them. Stupid fucking monkeys. No, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that, but he's just a piece of shit. I hate Carver so much.
Yeah, this movie would have so much less conflict if he just, I don't know, tripped and died by impalement.
If Carver tripped and somehow the gun just slipped into his mouth and he blew his brains out, it would be such a better movie. No, it'd be such a better situation. The movie's already good.
Yeah, the movie's great.
But yeah, anyway, so this is where we get introduced to Malcolm and his group. They're out there with Carver because they're trying to get to the dam, because they need power for their little civilization back in San Francisco. But it's really cool because whenever they hear the gunshot and the screaming, it seems like I want to say like maybe 80 of the apes come down there. It's Koba, Caesar, and all of them, Rocket, everybody, almost, Maurice too. And this is where Caesar screams "Go!" and Koba also screams "Go!" with Caesar. It's really cool. I just love the work they've done with their voices. And I imagine though it must be hard on their vocal cords. But yeah, so So they go back. This is where also too we get introduced to Dreyfus, Gary Oldman, who leads the colony that they have with Malcolm. Then we get Koba, Maurice, Blue Eyes, everybody kind of talking to Caesar about what to do because they don't know what to do. Like we don't know. Like Koba wants to attack them because he's afraid. Maurice doesn't think that because they don't know how many guns they have. Rocket's like, I follow Caesar. Again, Rocket's a good boy. I love Rocket. And this is also too where they're trying to figure out what to do. They also know where they're at because we get this really cool scene where Caesar tells Koba to follow them. Koba not only leads Caesar's army, but he also is really good at reconnaissance and stuff. Also, too, the two apes that go with Koba, they actually have names as well. It's Stone and Gray.
Ah, okay. Those little shits.
Yeah, I didn't know they had names either. But they have names. So he tells Caesar where they're at, and he's like, "Look, Caesar, I'll do anything you say, but we have to show them strength. So, but I respect you, and they show brotherhood. But so what Caesar does is he goes to the colony, shows up with basically everybody. I don't think they definitely didn't bring the women or children, but they pretty much bring everybody to the front of their gates to also return. Alex, he dropped his bag full of his sketchbook. Maurice looked through his sketchbook. He made fun of it. He said, "Wow, these drawings suck ass."
But in reality, those drawings were rough. Maurice was probably thinking like, "What the fuck? This is disgusting. What's wrong with that little shit?"
He flips through the book and he sees Maurice drew in his book, and it shows I don't know, it's just a dick.
yeah, fucking the smartest ape there just draws a massive penis.
Anyway, yeah, so they go there. We get a full conversation with Caesar now, where he tells them he's still having tough time speaking, but for this, he has to speak, and it's a really, really good voice. I think Andy Serkis decided to do for him. It's really good. Telling them, don't come back. This is your home. The forest is our home. Leave us alone. We don't want war, but we will protect ourselves if we must, which is so reasonable. But of course, humans need lights, so they have to go to that dam to get it working. Carver has to come with them because he's the only one that knows how the dam works. Dreyfus gives him an ultimatum saying, if you're not back within 3 days, we're going to go up there. We're going to kill every last one of them. That's word for word what he says. They also go to a fort to get more guns just in case. And so what they do is they go up there. Malcolm wants to try to convince them. Malcolm goes to the gate, and this is also too where I think it's really cool and really smart that this is where we meet Luca as well. We don't know his name is Luca, but that's Luca. That's the one who that's the gorilla that comes out of his home to meet Malcolm and screams.
Yeah, to drag his fucking ass.
Dude, that scene though where Luca immediately just stands up and just does his gorilla scream, it's just basically a man just like like getting all the other gorillas to come out. Terrifying, but so smart to have the gorillas not only be the front guards, but basically be the guards for Caesar. That's basically his Praetorian Guard. That's so smart.
I'm thinking about I feel like this would be a good tactic to scare Mormons away. So next, rarely, once in a blue moon, once in a purple moon, they come around. I think it'd be fun to scream like that if a Mormon came to the door. You just make eye contact and scream.
And then immediately a bunch of gorillas come out of nowhere.
Rip them to shreds, boys.
I agree. If a Mormon or a Jehovah's Witness,
that's what they're called. Yeah, just scream at them. Just scream.
No. Mormons travel too, I think. Right? They wear
I don't know. I just know if you come spouting your religion to my door, I'm gonna disrespect you, I guess.
Okay. Okay. I was just trying to make conversation, fucker.
And I'm making conversation by saying, don't come to my house spouting religion at me. Please.
I agree. I agree. Or else we're going to stick a bunch of gorillas on you.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, that was I love that. Again, I love how smart these guys are. Like, it just makes so much sense. You have the chimpanzees, and if there's any more bonobos besides Koba, they're the main hunters and gatherers. The gorillas are the guards, and the orangutans are kind of the teachers. So, yeah. So, and I there was a funny scene too. Whenever Malcolm goes to talk to Caesar, he's like, "I have to show you something," and that's all he says. And he's like, "I have to just come with me, and I'll show you something." And it's just like, dude, you really think they're gonna let you just take their leader alone by himself so that you could show you something? It's literally in Covenant whenever freaking Michael Fassbender's like, look at this egg. It's like, dude, like are you gonna take Caesar and just shoot him out in the back? He's like, I have to show you something. Just come with me. I have to show you something. But yeah.
That's all right. I was trying to think of something funny. I couldn't think of anything. Fuck.
I was worried that you were talking and I couldn't hear you.
No, I was here.
Okay. Just making sure. Sorry. Okay. So anyway, Malcolm just takes them to the dam to show them what they're trying to do, why they need to do it and stuff. And Caesar agrees to it, and he says, yeah, but the only condition is that they have to surrender all of their guns, which is also reasonable. So that's what they do. Of course, Carver already has his fucking pistol out, ready to shoot somebody.
God damn it, George Washington.
Yeah. Don't say that. Don't say that about George Washington Carver. He made peanut butter.
Yeah, I know. He would never be mean to these baby boys.
Well, I don't know what he was like, so I can't say too much. But
I don't know. He could probably hate animals. Fuck. Don't do this to me, peanut butter man.
Anyway, and yeah, so they give up their guns. The apes immediately take the guns and start smashing them, which is smart. No guns. So yeah, so they're there. They spend a night there. Carver's an asshole. He just keeps spouting shit. He's like, because Malcolm, Ellie, and everybody tries to tell him, like, bro, the apes did not start the simian flu. It was just like, well, they're monkeys, they're apes, didn't, like, they're the ones that spread it. It's just like Ellie, who works at the CDC, and everybody else is just like, no, literally humans made the simian flu and it spread. And it's just like, didn't you have a daughter and she fucking died? What about you, Malcolm? Didn't you have a wife and she died? What about you, Alexander? Your mom? Like, saying all this shit. And he's just like, yeah, I guess I'm the asshole. And it's just like, yeah, you are the asshole.
No one likes him, even in the humans.
Nobody likes him. Like, everybody fucking hates him. And it's just like, yeah, you are it's so weird because it was like, Matt Reeves, did you put this in here like for us to sympathize with him, or did you just were making him like seem self-aware of like, yeah, he's the asshole. Like, he is an asshole. Like, I think it's purposeful. Obviously, I think it's meant to make us more resentful.
He threatened a fucking baby chimpanzee with a shotgun, so he can burn in hell.
Yeah. So okay, I'll get to that. So the truce that they had is broken because Carver kept a shotgun in his tool chest or whatever, and Cornelius was playing in the tool chest, and he was like, and he starts screaming at him and immediately takes a shotgun out and is aiming it at Blue Eyes, at like a baby chimpanzee. Cornelius, like, okay, dude,
it's
like,
the cutest little creature you've ever seen.
So cute. Like, Ellie and Alex are playing with him, and Carver's like, are you fucking done? He doesn't say fucking, but he's like, are you done? Like, oh, so disgusting. Like, dude, what the fuck's your problem? Caesar whoops his ass, by the way. He takes the gun, immediately, looks cold as fucking hell, pointing that thing, by the way. Of course, he gets pissed. He throws the gun away. And then I'm trying to think. There was a really good scene, by the way. I didn't mention this, where Caesar is talking with everybody else about letting the humans do their work and stuff. And he says, human work. Let the humans do their work. If we don't, they might come up here and take the dam rather than, peacefully trying to do this. Koba immediately starts speaking, where he points to all the scars on his body, and he just starts yelling, "Human work, human work!" Like it's so
a great scene.
It's so good. And also too, it's like Koba and Caesar. Everybody does sign language, but Koba and Caesar are developing so fast too with like human speech. It's just so fascinating to see that. Like they're the only two apes that really have a better grasp, and I guess their vocal cords have evolved better to handle speaking. I just think that's really cool. But yeah, so and then after their truce gets kind of broken, Ellie and Malcolm go with Caesar because Cornelia is sick after giving birth Cornelius, and Malcolm kind of strikes up a deal. He's like, "Hey, Ellie will help you, but please, could you give us one more day?" So they get a day. Koba has been keeping tabs on what Dreyfus is doing, what his troops are doing. There's a really good scene where Koba goes to the armory, and whenever he gets discovered by two guys, he just pretends to be a dumb monkey. Like he just starts spitting and like doing blowing raspberries, I guess is what it's called.
Yeah, going ooh, ah, ooh. Just fun stuff that you think a monkey would do.
Yeah, and that's so, again, it's just so smart because he knows that they have their own prejudices, so of course they're gonna think, oh, he's just a dumb ape, let's just let him go, like whatever. Uses that, and immediately, as soon as he turns around and they don't see his face changes immediately. It's so good. Just the facial acting that they did for these guys, the physical stuff, it's just so nice. Like there's so much that's conveyed without having to say a goddamn thing. It's so good. But yeah, so Koba wants to go back to Caesar, and we get this such a cool scene where Koba confronts Caesar, and he's like, he just starts yelling at him, saying that you love humans more than apes, you love humans than your own sons. And then Caesar lets out this angry but such an emotionally powerful scream, attacks Koba, and just beats the shit out of him.
Deserved. Koba, you disrespected the king.
Koba was definitely overstepping. Definitely shouldn't have done that. Also, too, whenever Koba tried to attack the humans, Maurice steps in, and Maurice is just, dude is so big, so cool. Like I love Maurice, such a good guy.
It just reminds me of the clip of that one orangutan that's chilling, but there's like a tiny little, I don't know what kind of monkey it was, just bothering it. So he grabbed it by its skull and it's just screaming. It's pretty fucked up, but the little monkey should have believed him alone.
That's not comparable to this at all.
I'm just saying, it reminds me, it just makes me realize how strong orangutans are, but they're just not they're not the one to seek out the violence.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. True. Still brutal. Also too, there's also a really funny scene where Alex starts teaching Maurice how to read the very critically acclaimed graphic novel Black Hole, which is, man, the stuff that's in that book, I'm like, how would you even show that to him? Like, yeah, see this girl right here? She has a tail, and this is her naked.
I have no clue what that is, so that's news to me about a naked person with a tail.
Go read Black Hole. Black Hole's really good. I recommend it. And then also too, I made a tweet talking about how, like, if I met an orangutan or Maurice or anybody, I would introduce him to my favorite comics too. He'd be probably kind of sad about it afterwards, but he would read some good shit. I show him
like a bunch of porn, see what that does for him.
Well, I was gonna say, show him the one scene in Saga where a dragon is sucking its own dick.
Yeah, I think just see its eyes go super wide.
I was literally about to say, like, Maurice makes makes an O with his mouth. Is like, oh, and then he grabs the book and like starts like turning it like upside down and around, trying to get like a better look at it of like, oh.
Yeah, he's really into this dragon sucking itself off. And then that's the only way he's going to come from now on is dragons sucking themselves off.
What have we done?
Made a better movie. Matt Reeves, step back.
Let us handle this franchise. But yeah, also too, Caesar beats the shit out of Koba, like I said, but he makes sure to restate the law that is that ape not kill ape. So ape will not kill ape. And then whenever Koba asks for forgiveness, he makes sure to keep his head down so that we can see that he's smiling, that he does not want Caesar's forgiveness. He is steaming, yeah. And then as soon as he gives his forgiveness, like as soon as Caesar's hand touches Koba, he immediately just turns away. Like it's just so good. Again, physical acting, very good. Koba makes sure specifically not to tell Caesar about the guns. Neither make sure his underlings don't say anything either. So Koba goes to the armory. Again, another cold ass scene where Koba is pretending to be a dumb ape and then immediately grabs a gun and just guns these guys down.
But before he does that, he gets him some drinky time.
Yeah, but he spits it all out.
Yeah, but it was funny.
It was funny. But no, like him holding a gun like that, like, I mean, that's iconic, right? Like,
yeah, it is. Just the GIF, we use it in the chats all the time of him just like holding that gun out. It's so
now,
good.
Not as iconic as what the scene we'll get to later, but
oh, yeah, that one's it's gonna be burned into my brain when I die.
Forever. So yeah, so he does that, he gets back. The Wikipedia says he beats Carver to death.
I mean, yeah, he does.
He does. And it's at the same moment that they get the power up too. And so he takes advantage of their celebration to have one of his underlings set fire to their colony, and then also to secretly assassinate and shoot Caesar. Caesar's the only one that sees him, and Caesar falls to what they think is his death. He places Carver's hat on the branch with the gun to make it seem like Carver was the one that did it. And so Koba uses this to frame the humans for his death, to justify war and seize command, leading the ape army to San Francisco, where they plunder the armory and they mount a full-scale assault on the humans. And this is where we see, like I said, the scene of three scenes. Okay, Koba riding a horse, dual wielding 2 LMGs.
Heavy as fuck, and he's just one-handing them.
Keep in mind, bonobos are considered the smaller of the chimpanzees, so that's pretty impressive. Still very strong. Then Koba riding a horse, jumping over fire while one-handing an LMG. Then jumping onto an APC, killing everybody inside the vehicle, taking the LMG, shooting. But not only that, as he's doing this, the camera is rotating with the turret. It's rotating with it, so we get this really cool scene where you not only see the chaos, but like Koba just meticulously working his way to getting control of this. Like it's just so cool. And they win. They end up breaching the doors and they take over, or they capture the humans.
Yeah, but not before he goes fucking crazy and kind of kills some of his own.
No, they get they take heavy casualties, but they, like I said, they breach it. They imprison most of the humans. Dreyfus flees underground. There's a moment where Koba asks Ash to kill one of the humans. Ash refuses because he's still loyal to Caesar. Koba kills Ash. Pretty brutal.
Yeah, I feel very bad for Rocket.
I still think about that. I'm like, that makes me so sad. He takes Ash and throws him over the side. Like 4 stories, maybe 3 or something.
Yeah.
It's sad. He imprisons Rocket, Maurice, and Luca. Malcolm ends up finding Caesar. He's just wounded. Caesar has them take him to his former home in San Francisco. Malcolm sneaks into their colony to try to get medical supplies. He encounters Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes thinks about shooting him, lets him go. But then but Malcolm tells his dad is still alive, so they take Blue Eyes back to the house where they come up with a plan. It's really beautiful scene of Caesar telling Blue Eyes, like, Koba did this. Like, it's not your fault. It's nobody's fault but my own. I chose to trust Koba because he was ape, but I did not realize that apes and humans are not so different. You know, like, apes are still capable of hate, of being power hungry, you know, all that. And so they help the imprisoned apes escape. Maurice and them, Malcolm and his Ellie perform surgery on Caesar, and they help also free all the imprisoned humans as well. So, and during this time, after Caesar gets a surgery done, we have a really beautiful, like, it gets me teary-eyed, where Caesar is looking at an old camcorder of when he was just a baby, and James Franco is teaching him sign and telling him that he is home. Ugh.
Yeah, because you really are fearing for this dude's life, but since I'm watching this movie 8 years after it released, I'm going, he's in the third one, he will not die.
Yeah. And then Malcolm asks him who was that, and Caesar says he was a good man just like you. Like, oh dude, don't do this to me right now. And for those who don't know, if you're wondering what happened to James Franco's character, he died.
Don't know how. Just
he died. He got infected.
Oh, okay.
Him and his the woman, the girlfriend that he had, they both got infected and they died.
Damn. No blaze of glory. Nothing. Okay.
No. That's not a bit either. That's canonically what happened. So Malcolm takes Caesar and the apes back to confront Koba at the tower. While he's doing this, he links up with Dreyfus has the tower rigged with C4, and they have made radio contact with a military base up north. Hint for war. But Malcolm holds Dreyfus and the two guys hostage, telling them that they need to give Caesar time to talk to Koba. Now, I do think it's funny because after seeing this movie twice now, and then looking at reviews, it is kind of crazy. Malcolm holding a gun at these guys and then just saying, we need to give him more time. And it's like, give who more time? And then him just not really explaining what's happening. It's like, they thought we killed him, but we didn't kill him. And it's like, hey, but I'm gonna fucking shoot you with this gun. Like, it's like, okay, maybe you could explain it better. He does sound crazy. But yeah, Caesar and Koba are up at the top. They're fighting, and super sick. Caesar, like, man, Caesar purposefully, like, taunting Koba, like, knowing, like, how to make Koba slip up a bit. It's pretty crazy. Like, I love it. I love Toby Kebbell and Andy Serkis. They did such good work, and their dynamic in the scene so good. And then Dreyfus just goes crazy. He's like, I'm gonna save the human race. So he blows himself up, and blowing up the tower. This kind of stunts them a little bit, but Caesar and Koba continue fighting, but Koba gets a gun and starts shooting Caesar. He ends up shooting Maurice, doesn't kill him.
Well, to be fair, it shot he's one of those orangutans where his face is like super flat and wide.
Yeah.
And like, it's just like a part that I imagine is just like skin and fat. I don't know what's in their face.
That one is just skin and fat. I can't remember, but that one, I can't remember what those are called, but that is something that is only that's only for males. As they get older, they develop those. So
then why didn't someone in the kingdom have it?
I mean, different type of orangutan.
Okay.
I really it could be what's happening with evolution. You never know. Um, but but yeah, so he does that, and Caesar gets so mad that he jumps and tackles Koba, and Koba falls off, but he's like clinging for dear life, and um Caesar grabs him and is going to help him up, and Koba, says ape, not kill ape, but then Caesar looks at Maurice and it's just like, nah, and he's like, you are not ape. And then Koba makes such a horrified face as Caesar lets go, and Koba, I don't know if you would say Koba screams because he's angry, but I think Koba screams because of pure just terror and fear, because he falls to his death. It's pretty brutal. Like, he not only hits a wire, but then he hits this like metal platform, and then it looks like a huge metal block falls on top of him as this thing falls like, I don't know how many stories. He's fucking dead.
Yeah, that's a crushed monkey right there.
It was so crazy too. And the thing is too, with me, when me and Colt saw this, we were like, oh, he's probably not dead. You don't really see his body, get crushed, and there's a lot of smoke. I bet he's gonna pop up in war. No, he's dead. And I was
he's gone.
Thought that. Apparently, a lot of people thought that. So,
I mean, when it comes to movies, if you don't see the body and they're like confirmed dead, usually that can sometimes mean that they're not.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, it was the same thing for us. So Malcolm comes to warn Caesar about soldiers from the north coming down to kill them. Caesar tells him, like, it's okay, like, apes started this war and humans will not forgive. Trying to think what else he says. It was also another, like, I really love every time Caesar speaks, I love it. And he just tells him, like, I wanted peace, but can't have that now. And
even if he saved Koba's the kind that to be like, thank you, and immediately push him.
Oh yeah, no, there was no Koba. Koba is too treacherous. Something unlocked in Koba that can't be closed. Like, you could probably, I mean, the only way you could probably close it is if you killed every human and every ape that was loyal to Caesar. But no, it's not something that can be reversed. It's his whole thing. I'll talk about it, but and yeah, and Caesar calls Malcolm his friend and does the head touching thing where he puts his head up to his head to show they're, friends and to show love and connection. And he tells them to leave, and Caesar looks at his I say his current kingdom. I mean, it's the same. He looks at the sunrise with his wife and his two sons, and then the movie ends. The movie starts on Caesar's eyes and ends on Caesar's eyes. I think that's pretty cool. No, I was talking to Colt about this, about how, like I said, Koba is such a good villain, and yeah, you would say he's evil, but I think more so, like, in the sense of, like, he's more tragic because, like, he just could not let go of what was done to him. I mean, he was tortured and experimented on, and, like, that was something else, like I mentioned too, about the bonobo being the most chill and most sweetest of the great apes, and that just shows how badly damaged or traumatized he was, so much so that he was aggressive, treacherous, volatile. Like, it's so sad, and it's so much so that he was willing to let his hate consume him, and not only that, he was willing to kill his own family and friends because he hated humans so much more than, like, loving his own family. Like, for 10 years he was fine, like, I mean, I mentioned he killed Ash, Rocket's son. And the thing is too, is that when Ash was shot, he was upset. He was like, they shot Ash. They can't do that, like, defending him, wanting to retaliate. I mean, like, is this like we see this so much, and like it's literally as soon as he sees a human for the first time, it's like all of that trauma, all that hate just comes up, and it just cannot be resolved. And I was telling Cole, I'm like, the dude just needs therapy. If there was an ape therapist, he would have been fine.
Shit, get Maurice's just get Maurice on it.
Yeah, give Maurice a degree in therapy and psychology.
I'm looking at a bunch of pictures of bonobos right now just to get like images of them in my brain. They're even though they're the nicer ones, they are the scarier of the monkeys. They kind of look scary in the face when they smile.
Look up a baby bonobo.
Yeah, they're babies. All babies are cute for all monkey.
I know. It's just there's a baby bonobo I saw in the video I watched. It's so cute. Such a sweet little baby. Bonobo.
Gosh, and it's looking. I'm looking at a photo of it where it's trying to look friendly, and I know it's being friendly. It's just, good God, that's terrifying with those teeth.
I just looked up baby bonobos. That's all I want to look at. I just want to look at the babies.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh my goodness. Babies. Little babies. There's one eating a leaf.
But if Kobo did come back, I'd need Maurice to blow his head up with dynamite.
Jesus Christ. I was going to say, give us a break. We're going to take 10 seconds to look at baby bonobo pictures.
I love monkey.
I love monkey. Anyway, okay. Enough of that. Let's get back to the real shit here. Yeah, so out of this trilogy, I'll go and say I do consider Dawn to be the best one. The relationship and the acting we got here with Koba and Caesar was so fucking good and so fascinating with this like start of the society. It's just, and the direction and the cinematography is so good. I gave Dawn of the Planet of the Apes 4.5.
4.52. It's not my favorite of the trilogy. I think the third one is my favorite, but they are very close in score wise in my head.
Yeah, fair enough. Finally, now we're gonna get into War of the Planet of the Apes. This came out in 2017, 7 years ago from this year. That's crazy when I think about that. Again, directed by Matt Reeves. This film had a budget of $150 to $152 million. Box office was $490.7 million.
So the box office went down pretty drastically from the last movie.
Yeah, so it actually made more than the first movie, but its budget was also less than the second movie, but more than the first. So that's interesting.
And I would say visually, the best looking of the three. I don't understand how the pricing work. I guess they used more real footage and they had to do real stuff in the second movie with the humans.
Maybe so. Hold on. Sorry, there was something I did not look up that I meant to that I completely forgot. Give me just a second. Riff, do something.
30 monkeys breaking in your house, jumping on the bed. One jumped off the bed, broke his head, and then he kissed. I don't have anything. Why would you ask me this?
Keep going.
Burger King. Where are my monkey action figures at? That's still one thing I'm mad about, is that we don't have any fucking action figures from the new movie. Bring me the monkeys. Or reprint some of those old. Dawn was the last time they had action figures for the Planet Apes movies, and they looked cool. It's just now, if you want them, you're gonna pay out your ass for one.
Damn. Okay. Wow. Sorry. Thank you, Colt, for that. Did a good job. You can rest now. I'll take over.
I did not talk much.
I know. You did. It's okay. Yeah. Ooh. I'm like, oh God. Gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm all mad. I'm here now. Okay. So I was looking up because I'll go ahead and say the the effects in War are so good. Like Dawn was great. War, it looks like there's a combination of digital and practical. It looks so real. And I was so curious because I asked Colt this because there's certain shots that look practical. I'm like, is that a fucking practical? No, it is all completely CG. That is insane.
Beautiful.
And it's beautiful. Like I don't understand. I don't understand. I refuse. It's witchcraft. Sorry. Okay. I can't be making whooping sounds. Hollering.
Yeah, you'll make the dogs go crazy.
I will. Okay. So cast for this is again we have Caesar Maurice Rocket, played by the same people. Koba, same thing. Cornelia, same thing. We have Nova, played by Amaya Miller. We have Red Donkey, played by Ty Olson. We have the Colonel, played by Woody Harrelson, and we have a very, very special guy, probably the best guy. But his name might deceive you. It's Bad Ape, played by
love Bad Ape.
Steven Zan? I'm not sure. Yes, everybody loves Bad Ape. That's not a bit. But I should just say that right there. But yeah, so here we go. This is 2 years after San Francisco, so it's technically been 12 years since the start of Caesar. There is a human militia, the soldiers that was mentioned in Dawn, called Alpha Omega. They are aided by apes, derogatorily called donkeys, including a gorilla named Red that helps search for Caesar's ape colony. The colony repels an attack on their outpost. It's a really crazy battle scene. I remember when me and Colt first saw that, whenever we saw Red, the gorilla, walk up to the soldier, we're like, oh shit, he's about to fucking kill this guy. Nope. It was, and then immediately we see a chimpanzee in the tree wearing body armor and a helmet. I was like, what? There's actual apes working for the humans now?
Yeah, they're traitors.
Yeah. Now, and again, too, they call them donkeys. They're not. It's fucked up. So they repel their attack. We get this moment where Caesar is talking to the survivors of the attack, telling them that Koba was the one that started this war. Koba's dead. These other apes that helped them, they were followers of Koba. Red briefly speaks but gets knocked out. It's pretty cool. I don't know. I love the voice work for Red. His voice is so soft yet like also very intimidating. It was very cool. We get introduced also to a new ape called Winter. He is basically an albino gorilla. I don't mention who played him just because a lot of the characters they're not here for long. But so Caesar orders the human prisoners to be released as a peacekeeping gesture. They want to keep Red as their prisoner, but Red escapes after beating Winter. Caesar's older son, Blue Eyes, and Rocket return from a scouting expedition to report that they have found an oasis which could serve as a safer home. Later, the militia's colonel leads a team to infiltrate the colony. This is where I talk about the Batman stuff, because there's a tunnel where one of the soldiers in the tunnel, and then Caesar attacks him. And when he attacks him, it's like the only light you have is from the gun going off, which is
so hard.
Batman does that to a bunch of thugs in his movie. It's so cool. So freaking cool. There's also we kind of get this really cool like musical not cool, sorry. So later the colonel, whenever he infiltrates, he kills Cornelia and Blue Eyes, and because he mistakes Blue Eyes for Caesar, when Caesar finds them, the music for this moment, it's a callback to the original 60s film and 60s like that musical score. It's so freaking good. Holy shit. As Woody Harrelson looks back at him and starts just unloading on him. And then Caesar tries to just so angry. So fucking crazy. Of course, the colonel was able to get away, and they're trying to find Cornelius, and he was hiding behind some rocks, and it's a really, oh god, the voice at Circus does for Caesar in this moment is so heartbreaking, because he's just like Cornelius, like, and oh my god, it's so sad, because now that's all Caesar has is Cornelius.
Caesar has suffered, just done nothing but suffer in all these movies. He's gotten shot, betrayed, fucking family's dead in the first movie, and then his family dies again, except he has just a tiny little baby boy.
Yeah, that's his only son now. And like that's the thing too, is like Caesar has been so patient from the first movie until now, and it's just like it's finally all culminated to where like now it's like he has seen the good of humanity, but now in humanity's desperation, he is now seeing like how evil they can. I mean, he knows they're evil. He knows, but like it's just, especially in this desperation, there's so much more to human darkness. Like it's crazy. So yeah. So Caesar wants to be basically a decoy. He wants the apes to go ahead and his colony to go ahead and go to this oasis they had found. Caesar leaves Cornelius with Lake. Lake was somebody that was in love with Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes was in love with her. So yeah, and then but then Rocket, Maurice, and Luca come with him. Luca says they all give reasons, and it's so, oh my god, they're the best. I miss. They're so good. They're so freaking good. They're such a good squad. Luca says, "You're gonna need me because my guards keep saying the camp moves, and only I know how to get there." Rocket says, "You need me to back you up," and he also knows what it's like to lose a son. When he says that, heart breaks again. And then Maurice says, or Caesar says, "I might not come back," and Maurice is like, "That's why I'm coming, to make sure you do." I love them. They're so nice. They're so sweet.
And there's nothing better than seeing an orangutan or a gorilla on the horseback.
Dude, the entire time when me and Colt like realized it, we were like, how the hell are they riding these things? Because
yeah, those horses' backs got to be fucked.
They're broken. Because gorillas are the biggest, and the most a gorilla, I think the average or the most a gorilla has ever weighed is like 400 pounds.
Yeah, I don't think that's good for a horse.
I don't think that's good for a horse. Like, oh my god. And then not only that, like orangutans can be 300, also 400 pounds. So it's insane. And then Rocket doesn't weigh nearly as much as them, but Rocket's so buff. I'm like they're all heavy. Like yeah. Caesar's probably the lightest one.
Yeah, I can see like normal chimpanzees being perfectly fine on like a horse, even fucking Rocket.
Oh yeah, because I mean, there's humans that weigh like 200 pounds. You know, I mean, they get on horses all the time. So I mean, Rocket and Caesar, they probably weigh 190, maybe 200 pounds.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So anyway, yeah. So they all go together. They want to all be decoys to help the apes escape. They make it to an abandoned village. Caesar kills a militiaman in self-defense. They find his mute daughter. That's Nova, by the way, who Maurice befriends by giving her a ragdoll. Another sweet moment, because Maurice is just so nice, and he's like, I can't leave her behind. I love it too. The orangutans make this very deep sound, like vibrating sound, using the I think it's using the things that they have on the side of their face, but also that thing they have in their throat. It's really cool.
It's like meant to be a soothing sound.
Yeah. It's not meant to. Maybe it can intimidate, but I don't think it's meant to intimidate. So eventually, they bring her along because Maurice just can't leave her. Also, too, this is where we get a hint at something more happening in this world because the girl cannot speak and her nose is bleeding. So they make it to the military camp. They find Winter. Winter has betrayed them. It's really sad though, because anytime they get an ape, they write donkey on their back and then they brand them with the alpha and omega symbols. Fucking brutal.
Such a shame too, because Winter looks so cool.
Winter
bastard.
looks so cool. Yeah, I know. And the reason why he's working for them is because I assume that whenever it says that Red attacked Winter, Winter, that was like a scheme by Winter and Red, because Winter reveals that if Winter told the Colonel where it says that Red talks to Winter, and if Winter told them where Caesar's hiding out, that the Colonel would spare him. So in giving away Caesar's position, he was able to be spared, but then at the same time he basically gets enslaved by the militia. So yeah, and then he reveals that the Colonel's forces are heading north to meet up with other military forces, and but Caesar's pissed because what Winter does is literally the reason Cornelia and Blue Eyes are dead. Like, it's because Winter did that. But also too, what's interesting is that Winter, whenever Blue Eyes makes it back, he wants to leave immediately. And I think that's really sad, because I think Winter knew he made a mistake and was just like, we have to leave tonight. Because since Blue Eyes found this place, it's like, we can go right now. So if they leave, or if we leave, then the Colonel won't find us and then I'll be good. But since he's already made that deal, he has to follow through with it because I can't leave tonight. I thought that was a little bit of storytelling that wasn't really told.
Yeah.
On the surface. So good. But before Winter can alert the soldiers, Caesar, I thought they knocked him out, or it looked like he knocked him out, but he kills him. He has him in a chokehold and
I didn't realize that. I thought it was a choke, like a knockout chokehold.
No, so I was like, I was curious. I was like, did Caesar kill him? So I had to go back and like watch it, and I'm like, and he like slumps over. I'm like, yeah, he looks dead, but he also could be knocked out. No, the Wikipedia and then everybody else said like he had him in like a chokehold. Not only that, he had his hand over his nose and his mouth. He suffocated.
Damn.
Yeah. So along their way,
you got what you deserved.
He did. He kind of did. Along their way, the group soon discovered several dead soldiers who had been executed by their own troops. And one of the soldiers is still alive. He's also revealed to be mute, just like Nova. So hint, hint. Still, whenever they're trying to look for where, sorry, I burped. I got a burp. Okay, so whenever they try to look for where the Colonel's heading and stuff, Caesar's group chases somebody who steals one of their horses, and I had a feeling it was an ape because they were so small and we couldn't see their face. And this is where we get revealed one of the best characters in the whole series, Bad Ape.
Bad Ape. I love Bad Ape so much.
And it's so sad because the reason he calls himself Bad Ape is because when he was with humans, they would say Bad Ape, so he assumed that was his name. And this is where we get revealed that that he evolved and matured in isolation. He's from the Sierra Zoo, and it was interesting because they're doing sign, and he doesn't understand. He just knows English, and which again reveals that okay, the virus affected every ape across the world. So I'm glad we came back to that, because I something Rise did that I didn't really quite understand was whenever they break the apes out of the zoo, those apes hadn't been exposed to the 113. So I was like, those apes aren't evolved. They're just regular apes. I was like, they didn't really explain that too much. But here, it
makes sense since it passes to humans like a normal virus. It
passes
through the apes.
I think War especially when we see Bad Ape, I think that proves that, okay, like, even if there's these other apes in the world, Caesar's colony isn't the only one. It's happened everywhere. Everything got affected. And not only that, it shows that ape culture outside of Caesar can also develop too. So I just think that's interesting. I think war answers that question.
And he wears drip.
Dude, dripped out. He's just a little guy too. There's a really beautiful moment where this entire sequence where they're talking to him, I love him. I love how he's just so sweet. And like the entire time too, Nova keeps wanting to play with the
Chevy Supernova.
A Chevy Supernova. I
think that's the car.
Yeah, no, you're right. Or there might be a Nova, just a Nova, Chevrolet. Anyway, it's the grill or whatever that would say the car. She keeps wanting to play with it, and he's like, no touch. He's like having a babysitter, and he's not mean either. He's just like, no.
Yeah, he's like, that's mine. You can't take it.
And then whenever he gets so excited, he wants to go get them a bunch of food, which are MREs. He trips, and he's like, I'm okay.
God, I love him so much. And the voice. The funny thing is, the guy that voices him was in like the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie. I saw a GIF, not a GIF, but a video of one of the movies where he's like comes into the doorway of the house and he sees little Rowley, the friend of the main kid.
Yeah.
And he smacks him in the stomach with a newspaper and he just starts crying. He just looks at him slowly. That guy's a funny guy. He always plays a fun dude.
He always plays a fun dude. I will say too, there was a quote by him about Bad Ape. He said that this has been the most, in terms of acting, this has been his most challenging role.
Huh. Okay. I mean, hell yeah.
Yeah, like he means in a way of like this is his most like he put so much work into Bad Ape, basically. And he's good. I love him. I love Bad Ape. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Bad Ape, he's just a blast. I love him.
I love the way he would talk when he was eating too.
Oh my gosh, like I said, the voice work and like the mocap are so good. Like it's seamless. It's like we were actually like watching these guys. Like this is reality. It's so good. Oh gosh. And then also too, Bad Ape, like as much as he is a comic relief, he's still very sad.
Yes.
I have seen on the internet where people affectionately do not call him Bad Ape. They call him Sierra.
Where'd that name come from?
He's from the Sierra Zoo.
Oh, okay.
Hey, it's better than Bad Ape.
I'd call him Chevy.
Okay, that's actually pretty good. So later, whenever they're all outside or they're preparing to go, because Bad Ape will guide them to the camp, Luca and Nova are looking at a cherry blossom tree. Luca puts one of the flowers in her hair, showing again that gorillas are so sweet.
Yeah, it's such a sweet moment. Yeah, and those flowers are super bright and vibrant in the snow hell. Oh, man. Why can't these monkeys be friends with the humans? Why can't the humans be friends with the monkeys?
I know. It's just, oh, gosh. Yeah. So he guides them, Bad Ape guides them to former weapons depot turned quarantine facility in the mountains that serves as the militia's base. They're watching a human patrol. One of the human patrolmen kills Luca with a bayonet. It's really sad.
Yeah.
Because Buck died in the first film and the gorillas just cannot catch a break. Jesus. It makes sense though. The gorillas are the biggest, so they're going to take the most. They're going to take the most hits. And it is really sad too because Luca is dying, and Luca just tells Caesar that he's happy he could protect Caesar this time. It broke my heart. I'm like, fuck, because the reason why he says it like that is because gorillas naturally are very protective. And when it comes to their families or whatever, that's the one thing that male gorillas play a huge role is guarding and protecting their families. especially from other guerrillas. So whenever they're appointed guards, it's because that's what's natural to them. And also, too, they naturally want to protect Caesar. And whenever Cornelia and Blue Eyes died, Luca felt like he failed.
Damn, that sucks.
Dude, I was like, no. Oh my God. Okay. So after that, Caesar he doesn't have a breakdown, but he says like, I should have never brought you guys. This is my fight. You guys just need to go back. This is where Maurice says that Caesar sounds like Koba. Also should mention Caesar's having nightmares about Koba, and he says that Koba's ghost still haunts them. And there's actually a really good moment where Maurice says like, nobody could have known how much darkness is in Koba's heart. Like, don't blame yourself for that. Nobody knew. And it's true, because again, like I said, Koba was fine. It wasn't until he interacted with a human again, and the interaction was a bad one. The trauma came all the way back to the surface. So Caesar. Well,
the scene where it's just where he's like seeing the ghost of Koba, basically, where he's at the fire. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, is just seeing like bloodied face of Koba.
Yeah,
as he's staring at him
across the fire. Yeah, because it confirms like Koba's dead. But at the same time, it's just like, that's just how much of an impact he had on Caesar and everybody, dude. Crazy imagery. So Caesar decides to go down to the camp himself. He sees that the apes, his ape colony, his apes have been captured. His tribe has been captured and being forced to build a wall. Also, too, some of his his soldiers, they're basically crucified. Like, it's brutal. And so Caesar gets knocked out by Red, and captured, and he gets thrown into basically the camp with the rest of the apes. But also too, Caesar deduces that the militia is barricading the facility to fend off other human forces, because they were worried that they were linking up with more soldiers. But no, Woody Harrelson is trying to make barricades in a wall to protect themselves. So this is where we get revealed from Woody Harrelson that the simian flu virus has mutated, causing infected humans to mentally devolve into primitive animals, depriving them of their intelligence, which is again a reference to what happens in the original films, where that's what happens. Most of the humans have regressed, and the apes are evolving, progressing. After killing, Woody Harrelson reveals this, he reveals that his son was one of those who had suffered more from the virus. So he killed his son, and he ordered his own troops to kill any carriers before they can infect others. This led to a conflict with his superiors, who are still searching for a cure, which is also revealed that the reason why Nova was there with that man close to the beginning was because that soldier, that could have been his daughter, that could have been a girl he took in, but he deserted Alpha Omega because they were going to kill her. So the mute girl named Nova I'm reading this off. She sneaks into the facility to feed Caesar. Then Rocket also allows himself to be captured to prevent Nova from being seen, so he and Caesar can formulate a plan to escape. Rocket really is a real one, because he gets the shit beaten out of him, and he asks Caesar from across, he's like, feeling better? I love Rocket. Also,
isn't that when Caesar is crucified?
No, that's when they throw him into the cage.
Okay, yes, okay.
After, because Caesar's also crucified as a punishment. And this is also too where we get a good scene of, again, Koba's ghost haunting him, and Koba's like, you can't save them. Why don't you join me? Like, it's crazy. Yeah, so Rocket looks across at Caesar and is like, are you feeling better now? Now we can worry about escaping. Like, again, I love Rocket. God. And then so later the Colonel is looking inside of Caesar's cage and finds the doll that Nova left for Caesar. And then the Maurice and Bad Ape find an underground tunnel, I should mention too. And also, whenever they're trying to look at the camp with binoculars, Bad Ape takes the binoculars and he's like, "Oh no, why is everything small?" And
such
Maurice
a fun scene and such a horrible situation.
Maurice has to take the binoculars and turn them around. And there's also a moment whenever they're with Bad Ape back at his original place or whatever. Whenever Bad Ape slips and falls and just kind of looks like an idiot, Maurice immediately doesn't sign amazing.
Yeah,
but it's a good cut because he says that because he's amazed at the fact that there's other apes out there who developed independently from them. But it's just so perfect because there's a pause. Yeah, so they're able to escape via the tunnel. But there's also another funny moment with Bad Ape where Maurice is like trying to tell Bad Ape to climb on his back, and he's like, "Oh no, 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 no!" And then Maurice screams at him. He's like, "Okay." And then whenever they climb up through this hole that they made from the tunnel that goes directly into the camp, he's talking to one of the other apes, and he when he introduces himself, he puts his hand out and he's like, "Bad Ape." But they're really nice to him. They're like, Rocket's like, "This is the ape I told you about," and they're like, "Thank you." Like, so sweet.
He's just a weird dude.
He's just a weird dude. They're able to get the kids out and the adult apes out. But right as they do this, immediately the hostile military forces attack the base. Caesar escapes.
A crazy scene too, with all those attack helicopters. They came in with the full force.
It's so crazy. Like they were like, "Yeah, we got to take down Woody Harrelson."
There was thousands of people there, while Woody Harrelson probably had a few hundred.
Yeah,
it was overkill for sure.
They had missiles. They had SAM missiles, so
tanks and like full like snow troopers.
God,
there was no winning that for Woody.
No way. Woody Harrelson's character also calls it a holy war, and then says, whenever he talks to Caesar, he tells Caesar that he was glad that he killed his son because if it meant having to inherit Caesar's unholy kingdom, which a lot of religious references in this film. I love it because if this were to ever happen in real life, people would absolutely treat it as a religious situation. Like anything happening that's like science, sci-fi, or like anything that's like does a technology or progression, there's always going to be people that are going to see it as a way to preach and talk about the end times or what have you. It's so real for that. And the entire time too, whenever they're being attacked, it's like they can't find the Colonel. And the reason why is because Caesar goes in there to kill the Colonel, but the Colonel, having touched the doll, got exposed to the virus, so now he can't talk. And he's begging basically Caesar to shoot him in the head, but Caesar doesn't, and I love that. Like, it's like Caesar's so angry, and he just puts down the gun. And he's like, "No, you do it yourself." And also there was a good scene too where Rocket's talking to Caesar because everybody's escaped, but Rocket's like, "You need to come with us." And Caesar says, "Maurice was right. Koba cannot escape his hate, and neither can I escape mine." So good. It's just like, oh God. So Woody Harrelson kills himself. Couldn't handle the world of monkeys. Sorry, the Planet of the Apes. He says that, by the way. He says Planet of the Apes in the movie. And the escaping apes, as they are escaping, they're caught in the crossfire between the militia and the military. Caesar attempts to destroy a fuel tank, take out the militia from behind with the grenades, but he's shot from one of the soldiers that he actually spared. His name is Preacher, by the way. Doesn't matter about his name. He's a piece of shit. At the sight of the apes being gunned down and killed, Red, the gorilla who has been opposed to Caesar the entire time, has a change of heart and blows up Preacher with a grenade launcher. It was crazy. Brutal scene.
He, in return, he gets his, like, the guy that he was reloading the weapon for turns around, looks annoyed, and he's like, "Ugh," and shoots him in the head. Like it was nothing.
Like it's nothing. It's insane. Also, to the imagery, like Colt said, of the attack helicopters attacking this base while you have gorillas and chimpanzees helping humans reload machine guns is kind of crazy. Like, it's so cool. But yeah, Caesar blows up the fuel tank. He escapes the facility, and once he does this too, also should mention, Caesar's very wounded, by the way. He was shot with a crossbow. Whenever he does this, the soldiers, the attacking militia wins, and they're all cheering. They're all covered in white. There's so fucking many of them. And whenever Caesar's looking up because he sees an avalanche camp coming, all the soldiers look at him, and one of them is going to attempt to kill him. But no, the avalanche kills all the humans, and all the apes escape, basically. They resume their journey. They make it at the oasis that was promised to them. And as they arrive, Maurice sees that Caesar's wounded and promises that Cornelius would know who his father was and what Caesar did for the apes. And then, knowing that the apes are safe, Caesar dies.
No, the legend is gone.
It's a really crazy moment because Caesar, oh my God, it's so beautiful. It gets me teary-eyed because Caesar says that the apes are strong with or without Caesar, because I love that, because of the fact that Caesar is on this path to revenge, and he gets captured, and he has no idea about the escape plan until Rocket tells him about it. And they had already they had figured all of this out and have endured without Caesar. Not to say that Caesar isn't important, but Caesar realizes that they don't need him anymore, in the sense like they can survive on their own. It is totally possible for them to stand without Caesar. Like they are perfectly capable and strong enough. And I thought that was a beautiful moment. And then whenever Maurice sees that he's wounded, he gives this look of like a mother who is like, oh no. It's just like, fuck. Oh my God. I feel so bad for Maurice. Like, it's so sad.
Yeah, because it's a look of like, why didn't you fucking tell me, you piece of shit? We could have stopped and for a moment to like at least get you patched or something.
Yeah, it's so sad. Oh, and then also to the moment where Maurice names Nova, he takes out the Nova asks what she is to the apes, or if she's an ape, and Maurice says, he pulls up the thing and says Nova. It's so cool. That is actually a reference to the original film. One of the women is named Nova. So yeah,
that is a fun fact. Did I know that?
Yep. There was something else I really wanted to quickly talk about. What'd you want to say?
I mean, I don't really have anything to say other than this movie is my favorite of the three. I absolutely love it. I think I understand why some people wouldn't like it, because the name war implies like a bigger war with the apes. But most of the movie took place in this little concentration camp for apes.
Well,
and I know a lot of people weren't fond of that, I guess, and they were expecting more battlefield shit, I guess.
Well, yeah, the thing is, though, is that the war, this happens over the course of 2 years. Or sorry, no, prior to the start of this movie, the war had begun at the very end of Dawn, and it's been happening for 2 years. So I guess you could say that's where the war comes from, is the fact that they have been at war for the past 2 years.
Yeah, but people wanted to see it.
I know. I understand. I get it.
I'm not the one complaining about it, because I thought it was great.
Yeah, I know. But I found what I was looking for. So I just want to read this. This is talking about the influences of how Matt Reeves and Matt Baumbach, how they wrote and came up with War for the Planet of the Apes. So At New York Comic Con 2016, Reeves explained that he and Baumbach were influenced by many films before writing. He said, one of the first things that Mark Baumbach and I did, because we had just finished Dawn, was that we decided to watch a million movies. We decided to do what people fantasize, what Hollywood screenwriters get to do, but no one actually does. We got Fox to give us a theater, and we watched movie after movie. We watched every Planet of the Apes movies. We watched war movies. We watched Westerns. We watched Empire Strikes Back. We just thought we have to pretend we have all the time in the world, even though we have limited time. We got really inspired. According to Reeves, the treacherous apes being nicknamed donkeys is both a reference to the video game character Donkey Kong and the fact that they are used as pack mules. Additionally, during production, Reeves and Baumbach saw broader inspiration from film like The Bridge Over River Kwai and The Great Escape, feeling there was a need to imbue biblical themes and elements. They also watched the biblical epics of Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments. The influence and inspirations were made evident in the relationship between Caesar and Woody Harrelson's colonel, military leader with pretensions towards godhood. And then there's also influences from Apocalypse Now, notably Harrelson's character in his Alpha Omega faction being similar to Colonel Kurtz's Renegade Army. Also, too, there was Ape Apocalypse Now written on a wall in the prison camp. Colt pointed that out, and I forgot about that. Good shit, dude.
Just thinking about all the stuff that these crazy military people are wearing, of like only good monkey's a dead monkey, and like
monkey killer.
It's just like, Jesus Christ, that would be incredibly offensive. I know what they're going for, but Jesus Christ,
it's also still offensive, like because they're not monkeys, they're apes, so it's definitely derogatory, like even then. You know, and all those all those influences too, I totally see it, like the prison escape, the biblical themes, where at the very end Caesar is able to get them, out of their imprisonment and make an exodus journey. Like, yeah, that is very biblical. I mean, if I, ranking these films, I would probably go, it's very tough, but Dawn and War are like neck and neck. I maybe Dawn a little more. Rise is definitely the weaker, but it's still very good. And yeah, everything about it's so crazy, because when was the last time when have we ever had a prequel trilogy or a set of sci-fi / fantasy films coming out of the era of Hollywood with reboots and remakes that was actually consistently great? You
don't really have many. Like, Star Wars would have been one. Well, those are not prequels; they're sequels.
Well, I was gonna say the prequels all around not good.
Yeah, the prequels for Star Wars are not great.
Completely inconsistent, just not good.
The only good one was the third one, and that
exactly.
sucks.
The Hobbit, I would say The Hobbit. I enjoy The Hobbit, but critically, it's very divided. A lot of people don't like The Hobbit.
I love The Hobbit, but it's not the same level as the original Lord of the Rings.
Oh, true, absolutely. With Apes, with Planet of the Apes, this new trilogy,
from what I've heard, I haven't seen the originals, but it blows the originals out of the water from what everyone's been saying.
Yeah, and I mean, with this writing and this CG and this these performances, I mean, dude, this is an anomaly, and I don't understand it, and I'm here for it. Like, I want more.
And you're gonna get it. You're gonna get a lot more.
You're gonna get a lot more, because if nobody knows, it was revealed that 9 films were planned. So now, and since Kingdom is out, that's the 4th. So there's 5 more films still planned for in this universe. Hopefully,
I'm hoping that since it's popping off again, hopefully we can get like a consistent release, not some James Cameron release shit where the next one comes out in 10 years.
Yeah, I hope so too. I do think it's crazy. Consistently though, I mean, the film's the trilogy released consistently. 2011, 2014, and 2017. So every 2 years.
Like every 3-4. I want that for this.
Yeah.
I just hope that we can keep that up.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, what more can I say? These films are awesome. It just, like Colt said before, it really, like, they really make you, as much as you can kind of understand humanity's desperation and their love, at the same time, you definitely know and feel more so the hate, the discrimination, the human prejudice and violence, like, especially with something like this. I mean, eventually, like, with AI, with robots, with aliens, I mean, these are concepts that are like, that eventually, like, will not be sci-fi. They'll be real. And like, with aliens, maybe so far off, but AI, no. We're right there. We're at the advent of it. Like, we're getting there. And
yeah, I fully believe that we will have AI life forms within the next 30 years at least.
And we have so much fiction that warns about human greed, human indifference, and cruelty, especially when it's towards, beings that are not like us, or beings that are basically our children, and how no matter what, like, as as much as we would like for humanity to be good parents, more than likely humanity is going to be treacherous and abusive.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like, sadly, that's the truth. That's the real truth, because humans would rather kill each other than ever come to understand or help. Like, that's it's insane. It's insanity, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, I've seen, and Wenzel talked about to me last night after we watched Kingdom, talking about how someone could see the point from both sides. But in Kingdom, it's a little bit more blatant. But here, it's hard to see the other side, man. It's like, if you came out of any of the first three thinking, man, those humans, I understand why they were so mad at these monkeys. You're probably not a good person.
Definitely not, because I will say, a lot of people love these films, and especially the woman who helped with Andy Serkis with doing these performances, and everybody who's helped with the depiction of apes and their movements and stuff. One of the reasons they love these films is not because of how they view apes in this kind of obviously this unrealistic form, but rather it lets people it gives attention to apes and understanding that this is a shared world, and that even though obviously the ones in real life don't have the same intelligence or same same capacity like we see in this, they still deserve our protection and our respect. Like, they deserve that. It's absolutely, they have the right to that. And that's what is important about these films. Like, even though it's science fiction, it's not real. And it at least helps understand that, like, even if they're animals, they still deserve care and compassion. And you will have people, like, in its own film universe and even in real life, who will see the animals as being at fault when it is humans' fault. I mean, this entire thing, I still see people, especially with reviews about this, or when they're watching it, talk about how, like, how they will, like, I'm like, what movie are you watching? Because they'll actively be supporting, the humans, or they'll be like I told Cole, like, they'll see both sides. It's like maybe in Dawn, because they were so desperate, and they there's really emotional moments of having lost so much. But when you have shit like Woody Harrelson, or when how unhinged even Dreyfus is willing to blow himself up and like threaten, like, we're gonna kill them all, go up there and kill them all, like, or Carver saying, like, wasn't it the apes' fault? Like that would happen. You have people that are that stupid, and I mean that too, because earlier this week I was at Barnes and Noble drawing, and I was overhearing a conversation between a few people talking about going to see Kingdom, and I was like, okay, I'll pause my music and my headphones and listen in on this. And oh my god, there was one guy who could not fucking understand the movies. So they were talking about Dawn and war, and he talked about literally it was 3 people, 2 like they're all dudes, and like 2 of them were like basically against him because he kept saying like he was like, well, wasn't it not the apes' fault? That's why it's called the simian flu. They're the ones that spread it. And like literally the guy just shut him down. Was like, dude, shut the fuck up. Humans created the simian flu, and that's how it spread. It didn't. And he was like, it did not spread the apes. And he's like, no, it was made for the apes, but they created it. Like, and dude just could not process that. And then he was like, and then he had the audacity. He's like, well, at the end of Rise, all the apes became evil. I'm like, and they were like, what the? He was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
yeah, I would start beating him up in that Barnes and Noble 100%.
He's like, what do you mean evil? Like, it was so crazy. I was like, how the fuck are these guys friends with him?
I just think that a lot of people don't have critical thinking skills or the ability to look at a bunch of, or every facet of your life needs to be looked at with nuance, in my opinion. That's how I've always been. I always think like, why is this happening? This is happening because of that. And this is happening because of that. And this is hard to do because of this and that. I just think if you can't think like that, I don't know how you're a human being. You got to have like brainworms, some RFK shit to not be able to think with nuance.
Dude, agreed. Like whenever I realize that that's how I should approach and look at most things with nuance, it elevates you, like, because it's there's so much more to people in this world. Obviously, we're not talking about certain things like,
oh yeah, there's stuff that like is just pure evil. You don't have to look at it with nuance.
Purely wrong, but there's other things that like you can look at like with nuance, like completely different. Like it's just, I don't know. And I think that's why I love these films. I think they're great in bringing attention to apes and bringing attention to I guess critical thinking, or to approach like concepts like this is like something new, something different, with more understanding and with more nuance. And that's really all I have to say. This is a perfect. I mean, I like consistently, it's so good. Like, I mean, I know I said Rise is 4 stars. I give War 4.5 and Dawn 4.5. You could convince me to give both Dawn and War 5 stars because of how freaking good they are. It's just consistently a good trilogy that we just haven't seen, and I think everybody should watch it.
Oh yeah, 4.5 for me as well. Love it. I love the war. Another one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when the avalanche is happening and Caesar is just running for his fucking life to climb up on a tree. That was a blood rushing scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna get into some other reviews because Pat would have been on this episode. Sadly, we had to move it to recording it today on Mother's Day, so he couldn't be on for it. But he did make reviews on his Letterboxd. He said we could read them. So I'm gonna read his first one for Rise of the Planet of the Apes. He gave it 3.5 stars, which is fine. That's fair. It's exposition. It's a lot of build up. So here's what he says: finally starting my Planet of the Apes journey, and fuck, of course he has a fucking typo. God damn it. To be honest, I took a long time to get around to it because the starting point didn't seem to be that interesting. I wanted to hurry up and get to the part where the monkeys had guns. Fair, because it's very cool. Totally fine origin point, but I didn't really get invested until the ape revolt happens in the last 30-ish minutes. With this out of the way, I can get to real monkey business now. So that's his review for Rise. So for Dawn, he gave Dawn 4 stars. Man, they really knocked it out of the park with Dawn. This practically feels like it's in a totally different series compared to Rise. I do agree. It feels so separate from Rise. Everything in the movie is just top-notch all around. Beautiful cinematography, set designs, post-apocalyptic human cities, and intimidating ape communities, gorgeous on-location scenery, and an engaging, fraught conflict between the nascent ape society and desperate human settlements. Dawn shows that blockbuster franchise installations can be genuinely rock-solid films in their own right. Also, they actually made Andy Serkis into a monkey. That man was monkey.
That is true. That's what we said. He turns into a monkey.
That is true. All right, and then this is his review for War.
Pat, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. I know you're listening to this. We're going to beat you with hammers. I'm sorry.
I don't know if I can read this, Pat.
We're gonna have to beat you with hammers.
Pat, I've already sent a team of specially trained chimpanzees to kill you.
It's for the best. It just has to happen.
So Pat gave War 3.5 stars. I mean, that's not bad, but out of all my friends, that's probably the lowest. Definitely more conflicted in my opinion of this third part. The movie is gorgeous. Cinematography is great. The scenery is phenomenal. The apes themselves look their absolute best here. However, I really feel the length of this one. Despite it being pretty much the same runtime as Dawn, this felt a lot more drawn out. There's some overly long dialogue scenes and some generally languid moments that feel more like padding than something to fill out the world. The revenge tale feels smaller and weaker than the desperate, tense, coexistent struggle of Dawn. Plus, the titular war isn't really humankind's final stand against the apes as much as the last U.S. armies fighting each other while ape stuff happens in the background. Planet of the Apes Reboot Trilogy feels a bit uneven, an incredible second act between a tepid Act 1 and a slow Act 3.
All right, Pat, I'm throwing rocks at you right now.
I'm kind of glad Pat wasn't on this episode.
Yeah, because he would be crying on the recording right now because we would be beating him with the hammers.
Boo-hoo! Boo-hoo! I'm so sad. Boo-hoo! They like war. Boo-hoo!
It's Pat. Too slow. That's Pat. That's Pat. That's Pat.
That's Pat. That's Pat. The revenge tale feels smaller and weaker. They killed his fucking family, Pat.
Pat, that dude's family's dead. He killed his wife and his son.
Like humanity for him has only been building up to be like has progressively gotten worse for Caesar. Like, I don't know. So there you go, Pat. You got your
Pat.
You got your 10 seconds of fame. How you happy?
How you like that? You know what, Pat? Here's your address too for just for you to remember, Pat. Wink, wink. I'm not gonna say Pat's address. That'd be illegal.
Do you know Pat's address?
No,
I don't either. I don't know his address off the top of my head. Why would I need to know? Do I plan to send him a gift? No.
Yeah, I got a gift for him, a hammer.
Yeah, right. I got a gift for him, a toe.
What?
You know, like sending somebody's toe. A threat. It's a stranger's toe. It's not anybody he knows.
Okay, so, all right. Really like the horse head.
Exactly. We're gonna sneak into Pat's house, and when he's sleeping, and then when he wakes up, there's gonna be a head of a monkey in his bed.
Oh God, no! That means we killed a monkey.
We gotta. I don't know. We gotta send a message.
Okay.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. I can't say that. I can't say that. No monkey. We'll put a head of a horse. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Still gotta have to kill a horse, but we'll do it.
But yeah, there you go. There's our review of the trilogy. I guess any final words?
Dang, son. Give these monkeys some guns.
I agree. All right. Well, thank you for listening for possibly 2 hours of us talking about monkeys. I hope you enjoyed it because we definitely did. This is something we've been planning actually for a while to do. I'm glad we did it. It was a fun time. But you can listen to All You Can Hear podcasts on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, or somewhere on Google. I don't know where. Tanner keeps telling me Google Podcast doesn't exist anymore. I don't know. You can find us. Follow us on Twitter at AYCH Podcast. Follow the Backlog Boys Pod. Follow Cage and Greatness, the instruction booklet. They're all great. Go check them out, seriously. Go follow Violent People. That's something Tanner does, a website with multiple people. Go check it out. Go follow us on Blue Sky, aychpodcast.bsky.social. Follow us on Instagram, AYCH Podcasts. Follow us on twitch.tv/all you can hear. Follow us on YouTube, All You Can Hear, where the VOD is for our Twitch go. And I think Instruction Booklet has their VODs up too.
Yes, they do. They have the Crypt of the Necrodancer gameplay from 2 weeks ago.
So go check that out. Follow me. And you can follow me, Wenzel, on Twitter at Wenzel Booking. Follow my art Instagram and threads and Blue Sky, World of Wenzel. Follow my Bookstagram, Wenzel Banters, and follow my Linktree, It has links for everything, including my Goodreads and my Letterboxd.
My name Colt. Find me on Twitter at ColtD00 and Blue Sky ColtD99. Still waiting for that big platform to open up and not be hell, just still here. Anyways, I'm a monkey. Goo goo gaga.
Goo goo gaga.